Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Ryan in Singapore. Welcome to our mindfulness practice. What are we doing? We're finishing up a series on the breath. So, what's interesting about the breath? Quite a few things. One of them that we touched on, maybe not last time, the time before last, was how the breath transcends the conscious and the unconscious mind. So, we as human beings are one of the few creatures on this planet that have the ability to choose when we breathe, if we want to choose that, right? So we can alter the pace of the breath. We can choose to make our breath longer. We can choose to make our breath shorter. Uh, we we have this ability that not many other creatures do, and this is our, I guess the reason we say that the breath transcends the conscious and the unconscious mind is because it can do you can your emotions can have some effect on the breath. So your anger tends to make breath shorter and faster. You might even feel a tightness in the chest, like an inability to breathe. That your breath feels harder to do. So you find that your emotional state and, of course, your physical state. If you're exercising, you'll find the pace of the breath increases. But what also is possible is that you can use the breath to have an effect on the body. So the body and the mind have an effect on the breath, as we just talked about. But what we can also do is use the breath to have an effect on the body and the mind. And so, if you've ever done yoga practice, you'll notice in yoga that, well, if it's a good yoga teacher, a good yoga teacher will tell you that the breath is the most important. I mean, if probably the most important thing that we're doing in yoga is making sure that we're breathing at the right time as we do particular postures. So this is an example of, even though I'm exercising, I mean, I think maybe it feels like when we're exercising, like I don't have much control over my breath because, I'm running. I'm just going to breathe the way that my body breathes. But if we're doing some activities, it you can see that it really is possible to change the way that you breathe, and the effect that it has. So a longer, slower breath, which is, when I practice yoga, is kind of what I tend to be doing. And I've done practices where I do short, shallow breaths, practices where I do longer breaths, and there really is a strong effect on the body and the mind. And also, again, these two things are not separate. And so times when I'm having a more difficult time, I go into my yoga practice. I've got a lot on my mind, and it's not possible to slow my breath. And this can be used as information. Oh, here's what my breath is like today. These things that are troubling me are in fact troubling me more than perhaps I had given them credit for. So it is possible to, not, again, Dan Harris's podcast is called 10% Happier. I don't think mindfulness and meditation is a magic pill or a magic bullet that fixes everything, but it certainly can have a quite a strong positive impact. So, can you use that information to notice what's going on, and you use what you've discovered about yourself to perhaps change your action. How am I taking care of myself today? I'm more agitated. I better be careful when I'm going into this difficult situation later. And furthermore, on top of this comes breath work. So, breathing during yoga practice, forcing the breath to be a little bit longer is one thing. Breath work goes into maybe even a more of a deeper change to our emotional state. And so what is breath work? Breath work is making your breath a certain way. So in this case, the breath work we're going to be doing today is called box breathing. Box breathing is the technique that's used by the Navy SEALs to help keep calm during tough times. And the research shows what is most beneficial about box breathing in particular is that it really forces the participant to come back and be present. That we really, a lot of times what happens is the mind wanders about something that's really stressful, and so the box breathing can help to bring us back and to force us, because it is an activity that's happening in the present. It's focusing the mind to make the breath be this particular way. And you'll find that typically when we're doing an activity like breath work, that the mind wanders a bit less than it would during a traditional mindfulness practice. And mindfulness, when we're just paying attention to the body and letting the breath be as it is and trying our best to follow it, can sometimes be a bit harder to pay attention. Whereas when we're doing breath work, because we are taking an active role in how our breath is coming in and going out, that the mind will stay focused because we're giving the mind something to do. And again, that's why this is not mindfulness practice. It doesn't work the same way as mindfulness. Mindfulness really is about letting be, things being just as they are without trying to alter anything. So breath work does kind of fall outside the realm of mindfulness, but I think has some specific applications, which is why I do always try to bring a little bit of breath work into our practice, so that we can use it, so we can use the great benefit that can come from doing breath work and adding it into our practice as something that we can do in the present moment to affect how we're feeling in the present moment. So, I think I talked to somebody on Tuesday who was saying that he would get really agitated, and then when he was agitated, he would try to use meditation as a band-aid, and he found it didn't work. And I told him, well, that's because it doesn't work. Meditation isn't meant to be a band-aid. Meditation is kind of a preventative measure, that you're using your meditation practice to train yourself to drop into present moment, so that in those challenging times you have some ability to recognize it, and sometimes there's already that cultivation of a different way of reacting, a different way which leads to a different way of responding. So the band-aid, the thing that you might be able to do in the present moment, instead of trying to meditate when you're feeling really distressed, is to do some breath work. So this is the idea is just to give another tool in the toolkit to help when something really challenging is going on. In that moment, what can I do? Especially, anxiety is not a present moment kind of condition, right? Where we're thinking about the future, thinking all of the things that could go wrong in the future. Depression tends to be warping into the past and thinking about all the things that went wrong in the past, and projecting a lot of that perceived failure into the future and into the present. So these kind of breath work practices can help by forcing the mind into the present moment. So this can really be helpful in times that are challenging, like that. So we're going to do breath work today. The name of the breath work we're going to do today is box breathing. And thanks, Gene, for sharing that. Many athletes have incorporated mindfulness and breath work into their training. What's his name? It's too early. I'm blanking. The Chicago Bulls, but George Mumford. So if you're interested in mindfulness in sports, George Mumford has been doing a lot of working with Chicago Bulls, among others, when it comes to incorporating mindfulness to help in those really high stress moments. So welcome everybody. We will get into this practice shortly, so I would encourage you first to get yourself comfortable. And we'll start with just a little bit of noticing how things are, so a bit of mindfulness practice, and then we'll do the box breathing, and I'll give you the instructions as we're getting into it. The reason it's called box breathing is because it's in a square, right? We're breathe in for 4 seconds, hold our breath for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, hold our breath at the bottom for 4 seconds, and repeat. So first, get comfortable, sit up straight and tall. Notice the muscles in the face. Notice the muscles in the neck and the shoulders. Notice the sensations in the chest. Sensations in the belly and the abdomen. Can you feel yourself breathing? If you're having any issue, maybe you can't notice the sensation of breath, you can always place your right hand on your chest, your left hand on your belly. Kind of help it be a bit more obvious about how the breath flows in and out of the body. You can also notice physically, where does the breath show up most? Do you find it in the abdomen more? Do you find the chest moving more? As we observe the breath, can we also notice what's happening in the mind? What's the emotional state? How am I showing up today? And what baggage have I brought with me into this present moment? Noticing it non-judgmentally. Just being aware. It's no good or bad. This is just how things are right now. You may have come from a long day. You may be going into a long day. Seeing if you can let go of those memories, that anticipation. And focus on the feeling of breathing right now, right here. Being yourself in this moment just as you are. Not needing to be any different. Not needing to be better or stronger. Just sitting here with the breath. And now we're going to begin the box breathing, the breathwork portion of our practice today. So continue breathing naturally, paying attention to the breath while I give the instructions. We'll breathe in for a fixed period, hold the breath for the same period, breathe out for the same period, and hold our breath at the bottom for the same period. I'll go with a count of 4, but if you find, of course, what we are not hoping for here is for you as the participant to feel uncomfortable. So if 4 seconds is too long, maybe you want to shorten it to 3 seconds. Maybe you find 4 seconds is really easy, so 5 seconds is the right amount. Just figuring out what works for you. If you're not quite sure, just try 4 seconds first. And then you can dial it up or dial it back based on how you're feeling. So now, at the end of your next exhalation, let's inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Now continue. See if you can count on your own. Focus on that counting, focus on the breath. So do you notice a difference when I'm counting versus when you're counting? Is the amount of mental effort different? Is the amount of physical exertion different? I'm going to begin counting again, but I'm going to do it on a count of 3, so that eventually at some point I will catch up with your counting. And so when I've caught up to where you are, just join me, please. Inhale, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, exhale, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3. Inhale, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, exhale, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3. Inhale, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, exhale, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3. Inhale, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, exhale, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3. Inhale, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, exhale, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3. Now let go. Let the breath come back to natural and normal, whatever that is now. Breathing in, breathing out. Observing the state of the breath. Observing the state of the body. What does the body feel like? Can you feel any difference maybe from what you felt like when you began. How about the state of the mind, state of the emotions? So that physical sensation of breath, can we feel it? In and out. Inhaling, followed by exhaling, followed by inhaling. And so as we draw our practice to its close today, I won't be using a bell, but I will encourage you to fully focus your attention on these next 3 breaths. Now feel free to begin to make some small movements in your body. Open your eyes if they were closed. Thank you. Thank you for practicing with me today. I hope today's practice was helpful, useful, and I think some of us have already celebrated some holiday things. Others have holidays coming up. Holidays are not always a time of joy, even though there's a lot of joyful singing and ideas and expectations, perhaps, about the holidays. So breath work is something that can be helpful in these times when anxiety comes, when depression comes, when I feel like I'm supposed to be feeling a certain way or thinking a certain thing and I'm not able to think that. Breath work is this great in-the-moment thing that we can do. So hopefully you can, if you found some benefit in today's practice, please do share in the chat. Let us know how everything went today. And maybe it was distressing for you. Maybe it was a difficult practice today. Just share whatever's coming up in chat. And if it was useful, perhaps this is something that you can add to your toolbox. And mindfulness, of course, is the first step. How can you take steps to fix something or to alter something when you don't know that there's something that could be altered? And so mindfulness is that first step to go, oh, wait a minute, I'm feeling anxious. Oh, my heart's beating fast. My breath is getting short. Oh, I recognize that. That's anxiety. Oh, what can I do about anxiety? Maybe I could try that box breathing that we did the other day. So, of course, mindfulness is always kind of the ground floor. And then breath work, something that we can do to alter things in the present moment, to help to calm down, to reorient back into the present. Thank you, Jean. Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Sybil. Chris says, wow, I feel oxygenated when I walk 40 minutes. Like when I walk for 40 minutes, it was challenging. I'm not familiar with it. I feel clearer thinking, calm, really see the here, now, and present is really, is all there really is. Thanks. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for sharing. And that's, and that can be, this really is the one of the main purposes of doing box breathing, is to be able to use that, right? Is that it does require a lot of mental effort. It's kind of hard to multitask, to do box breathing and to do something else at the same time. So it really can help, especially if you find meditation by itself is really hard to stay present. This can be really, really useful. Gosh, I've got some. Looks like my connection's not fantastic. Is that. Okay, Micah says, I use breathwork at interrupted moments in my day. Stop traffic lights, ads on TV. Although I do it frequently, I was struggling to stay focused today and a few times found that I'd paused on a hold and forgotten to do the next breath. Thanks, Micah, for sharing. That's another, it's interesting to leading it, right? Like, how much do I, it's one reason to try to be leading it more of the time, but also to give that space for you to try it yourself and see what happens. See if you do get caught on a hold, and to go, that's interesting. What happened? So, yeah, I'll upload this as a recording, maybe, hopefully within the next 24 hours. So if you want to practice again, you can practice again using the recording. That period where I'm guiding you as to when to do the inhales and exhales can be helpful to revisit. And Jean says, I found it hard to resist the urge to do a longer exhale than inhale. Thanks, Jean, for sharing. And that's interesting, too. And, of course, there are benefits to doing a longer exhale than an inhale. And there are lots of, there's plenty of research you can do about breath work if you're interested to learn more. It's not the primary practice that I teach on Insight Timer. But, of course, it has its place. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking about it today. Jay says, it was good to box breathe. I'm more used to alternate breathing. Yes. Okay. Thank you, everybody. It's time for me to go. A pleasure as always. I think you might hear Frank in the background. Oh, he's not just in the background. I know. Here he is. My meditation buddy. And here, and I forgot Insight Timer. Now I can make my own hearts now. Thanks, everybody. Let's close our practice the way that we do, by sending some well wishes to ourselves, to each other who are here today, and to everybody around the world. Okay, so feel free to follow along if you like. May I be happy and peaceful. May everybody watching, listening right now, wherever you are, wish you all happiness and peace. And may all sentient life here on Earth, around the universe, may we all be happy and peaceful. All right. Thanks so much for joining. Come back on Tuesday morning, my time, which might be Monday night for you. Be doing a little bit of loving kindness as I close out the year before I do some travel. So look forward to seeing you then. Take care. Bye-bye.